Hello, what did you do on VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, the 8th of May 1945? Lots of us weren't born then, but throughout the nations who fought as allies in World War II, people of all generations are joining in services of remembrance and nostalgic celebrations commemorating the beginning of the peace. So let's go back 40 years for an unusually colourful look at what happened. Nick Radcliffe has been looking at some unique film footage.
These amazing pictures were shot exactly 40 years ago, and the reason they're so amazing is that they are in colour. Needless to say, colour film is pretty scarce during the war years, especially for amateur filmmakers like the Scot who took these pictures. He was a self-employed businessman. Before the war, he'd gone into the equivalent of modern cable TV. He set up a radio relay supplying BBC and Radio Luxembourg to 3/4 of the households in Musselburgh. But among his other businesses was a Kodak agency, hence his small supply of film stock. Alexander Lowe celebrated his 84th birthday on Monday. At his home in Long Nidri, which he shares with his daughter Alexandra, he still has the 16mm cine camera he used on VE Day. He had taken it to London when he travelled down for a business meeting, just on the off chance of finding something to film.
I'd taken my camera down with my load of film, just in case something happened during my visit to London. And during that meeting, we had to postpone it for the noise of people shouting outside and accordions and mouth organs and things. So I went out into the street with this Sony camera, which I had with me, and I was sort of carried along with the stream towards Trafalgar Square. Got to Trafalgar Square and I found all the best positions were occupied as regards taking pictures. So I bribed a young chap who was on the top of a surface shelter at the end of a strand. I gave him a quid or a couple of quid or something to get his position. So we did an exchange and I was sat there from the forenoon right on till 3 o'clock until Churchill made his speech.
The result of Mr. Lowe's decision to take his camera to that business meeting is this unique record of London's thrill of victory against the Nazis, of the joy of peace after 6 years of conflict, and of the relief at the end of the barrage which Germany had kept up almost to the very last minutes of the war with its V-2 rockets targeted on the English capital. Winston Churchill said that this was the greatest day in our history, and yet, curiously, Mr. Lowe's film of it has hardly ever been seen.
I didn't bother showing it at all. No one was very interested in VE Day, to tell you the truth, until recently, when I saw an article in the Sunday Telegraph couple supplement of some lady that had produced some colour film of the Blitz itself, and she had told the people at the Imperial War Museum, and they were terribly interested, and they said, "We've got no colour film hardly of the war." When I read that, I thought, oh, I've got some colour film. So the first time I was down at London, I got in touch with the Imperial War Museum and they asked me to send it down, which I did. And they said, don't show it, don't scratch it, don't do anything to it. Send it all down as it is. And I sent it down with Securicard. I wouldn't trust the post office.
And as numerous veterans of VE Day admit, perhaps today will mark the last great commemoration of the end of the war in Europe. There are unlikely to be very many of them sufficiently fit to take part in the 50th anniversary celebrations. But at least now, with Alexander Lowe's brilliant colour film, there will be a permanent reminder for later generations of what it felt like for people in 1945 to have the appalling threat of Nazism and the great burdens of war lifted from them.
Fascinating.